Hello everyone, I am Dr. R.P. Sendil Kumar, practicing pulmonologist from Chennai Chest Center in West Tambaram, Chennai. Today I am going to talk about 6 good habits for asthma management. First, let me give a brief overview about what is asthma. Asthma, as we know, is a chronic inflammatory airway disease. So, there is swelling of the inner surfaces of the windpipes. This is triggered by an allergic response to environmental trigger factors. So, there are two factors here. One, the individual patient's genes. So, not all persons respond to environmental trigger factors with allergy and asthma, right? So, only certain people with the genes for asthma react abnormally to environmental triggers like dust, fumes, smoke by producing an abnormal swelling of the inner surfaces of the windpipe with thick mucus secretion. Thereby the entire airways get clogged and they are not able to breathe properly and develop cough, breathing difficulty and wheezing, so which we call as asthmatic attack. So, we know that two factors are important: the individual patient's genes and the environmental trigger factors. So, we all know that we cannot change our genes, at least not in the near future now, but the trigger factors, environmental trigger factors which trigger the asthmatic response, we can identify them, be vigilant and try to avoid them. The first step towards good asthma management or good control of asthma for the patient would be to be vigilant, identify the trigger factors in consultation with your pulmonologist and avoid them on a regular basis. So, the first step is to identify and avoid trigger factors that trigger your asthmatic response. The trigger factors may vary from one asthmatic to another asthmatic, but the common trigger factors which can be grouped as any dust, fumes, smoke, any smoke, chill air blowing on the face, rearing pets like dogs, cats, birds, etc. So, these are all the common trigger factors. So, try to avoid trigger factors that trigger your asthma. That is the first step. The second step is, as you all know, even though you avoid the trigger factors, it is impossible to avoid all the trigger factors 24 hours, 365 days throughout your life. It is not practical. So, this is where the controller medications come into play. Controller medications are those medications which, when taken, act like a shield and prevent the airways from developing inflammation and getting blocked. So, the controller medications are commonly given in the form of an inhaler because the medicine goes straight into the windpipe. It targets the airway where the disease happens. You should know in consultation with your pulmonologist what is the suitable controller medication and take it on a regular basis in the prescribed dose, in the prescribed frequency, irrespective of symptoms. So, rescue medicines are those medicines which are taken when you develop an acute attack and you take it when you have symptoms like wheeze and cough. But controller medications, controller inhalers are to be taken on a regular basis irrespective of whether you are having symptoms or not. Whether you have symptoms or not, you are feeling perfectly good, still you have to take the controller medications on a regular basis in the prescribed dose, in the prescribed frequency. That is the second most important step towards having good control of asthma. The third step would be to use a proper technique in using the controller inhaler. So, we know the inhaler is available in devices like this pressurized multi-dose inhalers, and many people take the inhaler straight in the mouth, but using it straight in the mouth results in most of the medicine getting wasted because most of the medicine is deposited in your throat. It doesn't go into the lung where it is intended to work, and it can also produce some adverse effects in the local adverse effects like itching, burning sensation in your throat. So, the inhaler, if it has to go into the lung, it has to be used always through a spacer. A spacer is a device which acts like a reservoir, holds the medicine, aerosol medicine. Here in the inhaler, the medicine is in the form of an aerosol. So, this spacer holds the medicine here like a reservoir, and it allows you to take the medicine part by part from the stored reservoir. So that is the advantage of using a spacer. And the technique, I just show the technique. So this is a spacer, you have a mouthpiece with a one-way valve. The valve opens and allows the medicine to go in when you inhale, and when you blow back, the valve closes. The inhaler is to be held in your right hand like this, the spacer in your left hand like this. Shake it, fix it at this end. This tip, the mouthpiece, you will hold it with your lips and then give one press. The dose comes here. You have one dose of the inhaled medication controllers. From here, take a deep breath in, hold it for 1 second or 2 seconds and blow back into this. You will have to do this 5 to 6 times for each dose. Like that, you will have to do it at least 5 to 6 times for each dose. So always use the inhaler through a spacer in this technique on a regular basis, so that most of the medicine goes into the windpipe and doesn't get wasted in the throat when you use it straight in the mouth. So the fourth important thing that is important for good asthma management would be to ensure your inhaler and spacer are clean. Ensure device hygiene. Make sure the inhaler tip is cleaned frequently with soap water solution, and the spacer once in a week needs to be dipped in warm water, rinsed in warm water and dried. So make sure you keep the inhaler and spacer clean and hygienic and store it in a hygienic place. And the fifth important step is to regularly monitor your asthma. See, any chronic disease like asthma, like hypertension or diabetes needs to be monitored on a regular basis with some parameter to know that your disease is under control. So the same thing with asthma. The most important and easily available measure would be to monitor what is called as a peak flow meter. Peak flow meters are available in many pharmacies. You can get them from your pulmonologist. Record the peak flow reading, that is the best peak flow reading, and make sure you try to attain that, and frequently keep a tab on your peak flow readings. When your peak flow reading falls suddenly despite taking medication, it indicates that you need to consult your pulmonologist and get his advice regarding that. And once in a while, as advised by your treating pulmonologist, make sure you also get a proper lung function evaluation done, so that you know your lung function is under control and your lung function has not fallen when compared to your previous lung function values. And last but not the least, the sixth and most important step is to have regular follow-up consultation with your pulmonologist. Just starting off medication and just following it blindly, not a good way in the long run, because asthma being a chronic disease, when you are not monitoring your disease and let your lung function to decrease, it is not in your best interest in the long. These are the 6 important steps. So I'll just summarize. So these are good habits for asthma management would be: first, you identify and avoid your trigger factor. The second step, use your prescribed controller inhaler in a proper technique. That is very important. That is the third step. And make sure your device is hygienically maintained. And fifth one, monitor your asthma regularly with peak flow meters and frequent lung function testing. And sixth one, consult your pulmonologist regularly so that you keep your disease under good control. The most important thing is to control your disease. So it is not just symptomatic control which is important in asthma. So good control of asthma means you improve on your lung function, or at least you don't lose further lung function. Say if you are in stage 2 asthma, if you improve to stage 1, it is well enough, but it shouldn't decrease to stage 3 or stage 4. So that is very important. And for an asthmatic, the other important goal would be to lead a productive life just like any non-asthmatic, without fear of getting an asthma attack. When you follow these 6 steps, your asthma is under good control. For asthma control, inhalers are the right way.
If you like this video, kindly encourage us by clicking on the thumbs up sign and also kindly share this video to your friends, relatives, and other groups by clicking on the share icon and share it to WhatsApp, Facebook, or other social media so that they get benefited. When you subscribe, click on the bell icon so that you get immediate notifications when we upload a new video. Thank you very much.